Hey, Dennis, how things going?
Hey, good, Gary. Thank you for your time today.
What do we got to talk about?
Well, so I get to serve as a member of the City of Clinton's Neighborhood Improvement Committee. And what I wanted to do is just take a few minutes and kind of update you and others about the program of work of what this committee does, because there's opportunities for people to get involved in multiple ways to help. For example, we started last year. I'm very thankful to the lady who brought this to our attention, a program called Minutes Matter. The Iowa Association of Realtors Foundation, Quad City Association of Realtors put some money in to purchase house numbers. And if you go to the City of Clinton website, you can easily find your way. Just search for Minute Matter, and enter in, and there's some information you got to complete. And then someone will be in touch to schedule a time to come out to your house and put up house numbers. After derecho or even before that, houses maybe didn't get their numbers up. And if you're more than just if you're the pizza delivery guy, but if you're an ambulance driver or driving a fire truck or police car, you want to be able to quickly find out where 123 Elm is and make sure you're there, etc. So it doesn't cost people anything to do, because of those donations that are there. So either, and if so you're listening, and maybe you've got house numbers, but that one across the street or down the block that does not have house numbers, urge them please to be in touch with City Hall, go to their website or call up to City Hall and get signed up. So we've got a bunch of people who are ready to go out and put house numbers up. I know two committee members I think are scheduled here in the next week to get out and put some house numbers up on a couple different houses.
Is this a big, problem? Is this something that really needs to be approached?
Not unique to Clinton, Iowa. I think, it's surprising. And since I've been made aware of that, I was surprised while driving around some other communities and just kind of take for granted. And I was, they're missing the house numbers. So that's one thing. There is a couple other things there. We do as a committee meet and we select and then recognize folks who have done property improvement, and we give them an award. So for example, Gary, this morning I was driving up and a couple blocks from where you live, and somebody had just redone some landscaping on the front of her house and had put up a nice retaining wall there, rather where just dirt slopes away. Mm-hmm. And I thought, now that it looks sharp and it's good. And so if you or somebody has just gone out and done some stuff to really improve the neighborhood, and we're not talking anything super major. There's one house I know of that we talked about in the committee. They just got out and repainted the house, and it had probably been 40 years since the house had been repainted. Or down on Comanche Avenue, the El Tapatio, they just repainted the exterior of the building, and it looks bright, sharp. And so, the committee gets together and reviews properties, and then just meets with the property owner, gives them a bunch of thank you gifts, including a letter from the mayor, a city flag, official coin to the city, some other stuff, and just thank you for what you're doing. And ultimately, as neighbor across the street fixes up their house, that has a positive effect on the next door neighbor that, or ones across the street go, well, I should fix up my house too. So we just want to take time to thank people for when they step forward to do things to fix up their business or fix up their home.
I just want to point out, you as a realtor, and when people come into our community and they are looking maybe to move here, the importance of a better looking community.
Yes, agreed. And that helps ultimately with the ability of anyone who's listening right now and others that are here, their ability to resell the house quicker and at a higher price. So all that pays off, and I'm going to come back to a later example of that as we talk. We are the committee that reviews and then recommends applications. Long story short, there's some money out there to help with abatement of lead paint that may be inside of a house, and also some money that's available to help repair roofs. And again, just go to the Clinton website, City of Clinton website, and lead paint removal or roof repair funding, and they'll be able to find out some of that information. If you drive down along Comanche Avenue, Liberty area, you'll see that there are a couple of streets that have honorary names up, and our committee is the one who reviews those and approves those. We've discussed at one meeting, and going to continue to have this kind of a discussion about, and Dennis Hart does a terrific job, with the bus program here in town, and down the block, I see somebody just standing on a street corner, bus comes along, they stop to pick them up, but there are certain areas and places that are designated bus stops, and so one of our committee members is going to work on trying to make sure we improve signage about this is a designated stop for the bus to come by. Mm-hmm. I talked to the mayor here within the last 2 weeks, and we're working to schedule a time. He's just going to come and meet with a couple of members of the committee and then do his little video updates that he does, kind of the video version of us talking right now about the work of the committee and those sorts of things.
Sounds like a pretty active committee. How often do you meet? How many members are on this committee, Dennis?
Well, we meet once a month, and honestly, I think where we're at, we could use probably 2 other people. Okay. If and great lead-in question, Gary. And again, so go to the city website and search around Neighborhood Improvement Committee, or contact me over at Caldwell Banker House and Jeffries, and say, hey, Dennis, I'm interested. I want to learn more, and yeah, we're open to having. We've got room for 2 more people on the committee. Okay. And then the example I was going to talk about, back to where you went in terms of community. In 2009, when I was working in Kansas, we took a group of 32 business leaders and community leaders, elected and city staff and others, and we went on a 3-day trip and toured a couple of cities, one in Iowa and one up in South Dakota, that had grown significantly over the decades. What are you doing? What are the little things you're doing in your community that may not be blatantly obvious, but are really helping to make your community grow? And we got to one of those communities, and lo and behold, and this was by far the fastest growing community from the 1980s, when they were in the late 80s, they were about 80,000. And today they're well over 200,000. And we're like, you got statues and sculptures everywhere, like in front of the bank, the other bank, a hospital, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and these businesses and such. And they had started a program there where, working with artists, and sculptures would go up, and then after 11 months, and what would happen is the citizens of that town would vote and say, this is the sculpture we like, and we want it to stay. We want that to be the one that the city buys. And then they relocate that out to a park, or, just a spot somewhere where people would see it. Imagine down here, back here, as I'm pointing to the east, a little pocket park right there on 13th Avenue.
Right, Kleppy Park.
Exactly, and do something like that. There's obviously lots of opportunities to do something, like I said, in front of a bank or nursing home, hospital, etc., and a lot of places to do that sort of stuff. And they had been doing it for years, and a much, much bigger city, and to the point that throughout that community, I think there were 70 or 80 sculptures already scattered all over town. And again, it just creates that perception of, hey, this is a community that's into public art and quality stuff and very good. And I remember, back there in 2000 when they ripped up Fifth Avenue South, and as part of that redevelopment plan in the 100, 200 block was to put in those sculptures. And, compared to before and after, very nice. Yeah. And so we went back to the town in Kansas, and we thought about that. And the first year we did a a sculpture tour in the downtown, had like 7 or 8 sculptures that are up. And citizens voted, the city bought one, but again, I think only one of them went back to the artist. And again, other folks in town stepped forward and said, I want to buy one of these. A factory said, well, I'm going to buy one of these and put these out where everybody sees it when they come and go or drive by our company, et cetera, et cetera. Doctors' offices, et cetera, et cetera. And I talked to the 2 guys that were the main volunteers driving it here within the last 2 weeks. And I mean, they're now, they just 2 days ago was the 13th year, and they unveiled the sculptures. So sculptures go up downtown, they're covered, and then they have a big, day to say, hey, Saturday at 10 o'clock, we're going to unveil the sculptures. And, they get a big crowd to come and look at them all. And then when they're done, after 11 months, and again, what stepped up, PTA said, that one of a little child reading a book. No, don't put that in front of the library like you planned on. The PTA will buy it. We're going to put it in front of an elementary school in honor of the librarian who had just died of cancer. And it just awesome, Gary, to put it out more into the community. And then eventually what happened, and the big key to it really growing to where now they do about 30 sculptures a year, is that the private sector stepped forward. And, concrete company in town said, you know what, let my guys get over there. We'll donate. We'll put in the paving of the base. We'll take care of attaching the sculpture to that, et cetera, et cetera. Because when you did that, what you had was then everybody worked at that plant. They had pride in what had been done, and they made a point of making sure that all their friends, their family members, and everybody else, hey, drive by that sculpture down at the corner of Ash and Oak Street. You can see what I did, that my company helped to do, and it's been awesome.
Dennis, we got about a minute left in the program. Anything else you want to touch upon, or how can people get more?
So what I would say is just get involved and come to the city's website and type in the Neighborhood Improvement Committee, and you can find just examples of different ways and just practical ways to get involved, to be problem solvers, and to say, look, great, here's something we could do to help improve the quality of our community.
Great to see you. Appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Gary.
It's a bird. It's a plane.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick. Yeah!
100,000